If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you have questions about the VNS and are considering getting the procedure done. Many questions which I myself had and had a hard time getting kind of concrete answers for. Had a hard time getting real experiences or real testimonies from people who actually had the procedure done themselves. So hopefully I can clear some of that up for you guys. I just want to talk to you about what I went through, my whole experience from start to finish. I'm not really going to talk about my epilepsy as a whole. I'll make a separate video for that. But I do just want to start by saying that I'm not an expert on the VNS. I'm not a medical professional. And again, this is just to share my experience, and your experience might be totally different, and you might have totally different results. Now, with that being said, I went into this knowing that having the surgery would not be a cure for my epilepsy, but the whole idea was that it would be a hopefully improvement of the quality of life that I had. It would hopefully lower the amount of seizures I had. It would make the seizures less debilitating. And it would just make life overall easier to manage and hopefully get me to a point where I could feel more comfortable living with epilepsy. So, yeah, when I first started doing the research on how the procedure kind of went for people, on what I could, expect, and I would look up the videos, all I could really find were testimonies from companies who were kind of hyping up their product from people who had it done, and it was like, oh yeah, it's so great. I can drive again. It almost cured my epilepsy, or it did cure my epilepsy. But the reality is, the more research I did, that's not true for most people. And I'm not one of those people. I still do have seizures. And the other thing is that one of the overall goals is that you hopefully can get off your medications, or at least lower the amount of medications you're on. So that's a potential plus. I unfortunately am in the process of uh, just switching up my medications now, but I'll get into that a little later. I don't mean to jump ahead too much, but um, so anyways, it seemed to me that mostly on YouTube, yeah, I really couldn't find personal videos from people who were willing to talk about their experiences. I found a few, and I was really grateful for that. But I just wish that was a more accessible thing that people were willing to put out there, which is really my reason for making this video. And I do want to talk about other aspects of epilepsy as well, but I'll talk about those things in later videos. So we'll go ahead. I'll start from the very beginning. When I first got to talking with my epileptologist, and I said, yeah, let's go ahead and put the referral in for the VNS procedure. He put it in, got approved immediately, and I had a talk with the surgeon who initially did the procedure. Now, the surgeon said that basically he just went over real quick about what the procedure was like, what it would entail. He wanted to know about my history of epilepsy, about if there were any genetic factors, kind of why I wanted to go the VNS route. And I basically just told him, we're at the point now where I don't qualify for any other surgeries. I basically my epilepsy originates on my right temple, my left temporal lobe, And this general area, as my epileptologist likes to call it, and then right back here. So there's way too many areas, and any invasive procedures would just not be beneficial. It would be way too risky without any true benefit. So the VNS, it's not very invasive, and honestly, the recovery is not really all that extreme. Not to say that you're not going to be in some pain, you will, but yeah, that was really my reasoning for wanting to do it. And he said, yeah, he goes, it sounds like you're a great candidate for it. He goes, we'll start with getting some blood work done, which is the first step. So got the blood work done, just wanted to make sure that I was healthy enough to do it. I went ahead and spoke with I had to go to a facility, and I spoke with Next, which my understanding was he was an RN, and he wanted to go from start to finish my whole history of my medical history, which took a little while, but again, just making sure I'm healthy enough to go through with surgery, and it was fine. And once that was done, the next step was basically just waiting for, the surgery, which was only 2 weeks away at that point. He also did like a mental evaluation, just wanted to make sure my head was in the right spot with this, wanted to make sure I didn't have any exceedingly high expectations for what this would be, which I think is a good thing that they do, because I don't want anyone to go. I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to go in this thinking that this is a cure. Obviously, I went in hoping for the best, but I was realistic about what the benefit was gonna be, and what the hope was gonna be from this. I knew that there was a possibility that nothing could change. But I did have positive outcomes. So, anyways, 2 weeks later rolls around. I go in for surgery. Mind you, from the time the referral had gotten put in and to the time surgery actually happened, 3 months had passed. In that time, I had done my own research on the VNS. I had also talked to the surgeon about the potential risks and the potential hazards of doing the VNS surgery. And I had done a lot of research as far as, what things I was afraid of, what outcomes are there? Are there any side effects that are going to leave me, completely scarred or impaired? And the reality is there are some. You could end up with like paralyzed vocal cords. You can end up with things like Horner syndrome. And these are things that I didn't even learn about until literally the day before my surgery. I had learned about some other minor things, but nothing like this. And I was extremely worried going into my surgery. But if you're at all, if you have concerns, if you're at all worried about, what it is you're about to do not be afraid to ask every single possible question you come up with. Don't be afraid to write these things down, because I know there's many of us with epilepsy, we have memory issues, and so yeah, it's don't feel bad having these concerns. Don't feel bad bringing them up. Do your research. There's never enough research that can be done. But I'm not trying to scare you either. The reality is the chance of anything like this going wrong is extremely low. I think my surgeon said the chance of one of these, like Horner syndrome or a paralyzed vocal cord happening is like an 8% chance. Maybe it's even a 3% chance. I mean, it's pretty low. So I came out of it just fine. But anyways, back to the process. So surgery day rolls around. I show up at the facility a couple hours early, and I go to the pre-op room. I lay in there on the table. Um, before, or not the table, I should say, laying in the bed. But before the surgeon comes in, before his assistant comes in, the actual company who makes the VNS and makes the magnet and everything else, they come in and they show you exactly your device, what's going into your body, the magnets that you're getting, how they work. It's obviously not activated, so it's not going to do anything, and it wouldn't do anything anyways. It doesn't make a noise. Um, but they go ahead and they talk to you about it. They just kind of show you what it is, and they want you to see, okay, this is what you're working with here. And so they say, okay, we're going to give this to the surgeon now, and they walk out, which I thought was pretty cool. They also give you a card. I'm not going to go ahead and get mine out, just because I don't know. I don't know how that works with YouTube and copyright and everything else, but they give you two cards. Basically, keep it in your wallet, keep it on you. That way, if you ever go and have like a CT scan done, or maybe it's an MRI, I don't remember which right now, but it basically lets them know, okay, you have metal in your body from this point to such and such point up here, and you can't be, I think it's an MRI, you can't have an MRI done in that portion of your body, which is a good thing. All they have to do is scan it, and they have all that information right there before you ever go in for your MRI. So that's cool. But anyways, they walk out. Next thing I know, the actual surgeon comes in after he finishes up his previous VNS surgery, and he just talks to me. He says, yeah, you ready? You feeling good? I said, yeah, I feel good. Let's go ahead and do this. I did ask him, though, about the Horner syndrome and the paralyzed vocal cord, because I was like, hey, so real quick, I read about something last night, and, what is this like? And, what chance do we have of this happening? And he goes, okay, yeah, he goes, it's a real thing. He goes, but don't worry. He goes, the chances are low. He goes, I'm not going to say it can't happen, but, we're going to do everything we can to make sure something like that doesn't happen. And his assistant, after he walked out, his assistant was still there. And she goes, you have a very good surgeon. She goes, you're in good hands. I wouldn't worry. Which kind of made me feel a little better about it. Which I had heard he was, a great surgeon. I'm not going to say his name, but I had heard he was really good. But I will say this, I did have my surgery done, at Loma Linda University Medical Center. I did have it done as an outpatient procedure, which is important to note. And that's what a lot of them are nowadays, unless for some reason you are a higher risk patient, you are a higher risk person going in for the surgery. It's pretty much going to be outpatient. You're going to go in and come out same day. It's not going to take that long. I think I went in at like 6 a.m. I was out by noon. Anyway, so about an hour later, after I met with the surgeon and the assistant, they go ahead and they wheel me in and lay on the table. And I had never had surgery before, so I was, kind of nervous. And they go ahead and they shoot me up with the whatever they give you to knock you out, and I'm just laying there like, okay, like what's gonna happen? And then next thing I know, I'm just laying there, and this woman's like saying, Eric, wake up, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I was like, I'm talking. I was like, so I assume my vocal cords work. I was like, how's my face look? I was like, is my face droopy on one side? And I was like, is my eye working okay? And she was like, yeah. She goes, everything's fine. You look good. She was like, don't worry. She goes, it was a success. Everything looks great. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was relieved. And so I stayed in the post-op room for, I think, another hour. They let everything wear off. It was pretty quick. And after that, they went ahead and wheeled me back to the pre-op room, got me dressed and everything, and then I walked out and I went home, ate a burrito, and that was pretty much it. I was sore. Don't get me wrong, I was sore. I had swelling, but they give you like some painkillers, but I honestly I didn't take them. Tylenol was enough. And I was sore for about 3 days, but I worked during those 3 days. I really didn't think it was a big deal. Mind you, I work from home. I work on my computer, so that helped. But if you do work a job where you have to go in, you'll probably need to take a few days off, because I don't recommend going in. They did fill the incisions not with stitches, but with a glue, like a medical surgery glue. I don't know what to call it, but they so yeah, I'm not a fan of it. The one that they actually covered my chest with actually broke like over Thanksgiving weekend, and so I was really worried, and we called the hospital where I had it done out of, even though it was outpatient. We're like, hey, like this thing cracked, and I didn't even touch it. I just went to get in the shower one night, and there was like a tiny bit of blood coming out, and they were like, okay, well, they're like, if it gets worse, call us back and come in, but otherwise, just let it be. And sure enough, it scabbed up. It was fine. It wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, so I will go ahead and show you the scars though. So here's the neck scar. You can actually see the cable, which is kind of, I don't know, I haven't seen that on other people before, from pictures I've seen, but yeah, this is the scar for my neck. And then the chest incision is actually pretty small, I think, but yeah, it's right there. And the device itself is right there. You can see it moves around. I mean, you don't ever feel it. You don't ever feel anything. The one thing I'm grateful for is that I don't ever get hoarseness in my voice from the device going off. And I'm well beyond the what they call a therapeutic stage that they try to get you to, because that wasn't enough. I think I'm 3 levels above it, and even then I think that we tweaked it a little more, just the timing aspect, because we wanted to see what we could do, but we're not going to adjust it anymore because I'm not comfortable, they're not really comfortable, and they don't like going above where we're at. So we're looking at medication changes right now. But anyways, yeah, I don't really get hoarseness in my voice. I just actually had it go off right now. So that's about all the voice inflection changes I get from the device when it goes off. But yeah, so this is the magnet that they give you. And I will say the band they give you kind of sucks. This band's not great. It's a Velcro one. I went ahead and ordered it myself. And like I had to trim it down. It didn't really fit, and but it works. It doesn't fall off like the one they give you. At least for the one I got. I don't know how many different ones are out there, but yeah. So where was I at? Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, so back to post-surgery. I was sore, Tylenol worked, but 2 weeks later I went, they turned it on, and it, pretty much, yeah, I mean, you notice it right away for sure in the beginning. The first time she turned it on and she said, all right, let's see if you feel it. I mean, it knocked me back. I think if I had been standing, I definitely would have gotten knocked on my butt, and that there's no doubt about it, because it was the first time I had ever felt it before. But after that, it was pretty much smooth sailing from there. The first few times I'd go back, which was every 2 weeks to get it adjusted, I had a huge reflex to it, but I don't know, probably by the 3rd or 4th visit, I quit noticing it, and it was fine. So it's really not that big of a deal for me, at least. Again, This is just me, though. I'm not saying that this is going to be the same for everybody. This is just my experience, and hoping I can clear some of the worry up, some of the concerns up for people. Or, I mean, maybe this will make it worse. I don't know, but I just want people to be informed about everything that could happen out there. So, yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I got it. I kept getting it bumped up every 2 weeks. We eventually got to what the therapeutic level was, and it was obvious it was not enough. My seizures were still pretty heavy, but the benefit was is that prior to even going and getting the VNS, my medication was making it so I don't have tonic-clonics. I basically just have focals and a lot of auras, but uh, I so yeah, but the therapeutic level was not enough, so I kept getting it bumped up again like 3 more times, I think. And then we adjusted the timing one more time, and then the last time we got to see her, we just kind of talked about it, and um, basically we're just like, all right, let's keep it where it's at, because actually the trend the last time I went in, it was actually starting to go down, the amount of activity I was having, and I could feel it. I mean, I did notice. I was like, I actually think there is a positive correlation here. I actually think things are starting to change. It just took some time. And it's not to say that nothing changed during the whole process of me getting the VNS, because when I did initially get it turned on, things did start to change, and things continued to change as time went on, and I did see that. But again, it just wasn't enough to where we were like, okay, cool, let's stop making adjustments. Because again, their whole thing is we want to stop making adjustments once we get to the therapeutic level, and that wasn't the case for me. So we kept going and kept going and kept going. But yeah, unfortunately, we're at a point now where we're gonna stop. But there is a positive correlation. I didn't have a bad experience. I didn't, and I haven't had a bad experience. The seizures have improved dramatically. My quality of life has improved dramatically as well with this. And the biggest blessing of all has been this magnet, because if I feel a seizure coming on or an aura coming on, I swipe it, and I mean, it pretty much can knock it down pretty fast. It pretty much can stop things in their tracks, or at least cut down the time it takes for me to recover from some stuff. Because I'm not always able to stop it before it happens. But yeah, if anything, I definitely recommend it just for this aspect alone. But again, and the one thing I did notice online is that people were saying, who did have this, like people on like Reddit, they were saying that they, even though people, like some people who didn't have like really great results, they never regretted getting it done, because in some aspect or another it did improve their quality of life. And I have to say, I completely agree with that. I completely see that. I definitely have had improvements compared to those people, but you know, even if my improvements maybe hadn't been as good as they are, I would still get it done again. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. But again, that's just me. So, anyways, yeah, that's about where I'm at. I don't really have a whole lot else to add. So, if you have any more questions, if you have any things that I haven't talked about that you'd like to know more on, then go ahead and send me a message. Again, I'm not an expert, but I'll try to answer anything I can. I'll go ahead and put my email address in the bottom down here. You can actually just comment. Actually, that's probably the best way, and I'll respond. But yeah, I'll be doing a video in the next the next couple days here talking about my whole epilepsy journey. That's going to be a long video, so I might do a two-parter on that because that's probably going to take at least an hour. This video is only taking about 22 minutes at this point, it looks like. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys learned a bit from this and I could help you out. So anyways, again, go ahead and comment if you do have some questions or would like to know more. Thanks.